City Council for December 6, 2022. Roll call, please.
Mr. Fuller.
Here.
Mr. Cooling.
Here.
Ms. Materney. Here. Mr. McCarthy. Mr. Smith.
Here.
Mr. Van Huzen.
Here.
Mr. Weber.
Here.
If you're able, please join me in standing to the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Minutes of council meeting from November 15th.
Thank you, Mayor. I believe everyone has received a copy of the meeting minutes for November 15th. If there is no objections, we'll consider those passed.
Thank you. We have a special report today from the individuals from the Ability Center, and I see you just pulled up. Are you guys ready to go, or do you want a minute to kind of get situated?
We're ready.
All right, so basically, there's a special report like this. Please just introduce yourself, name, your address, and we try to give kind of a block of time, 15 to 20 minutes total. So, the floor is yours. You can move it over if you want. That can be there, or it could be on the podium, whichever is.
I'm good. So thank you for having us here tonight. I'm just going to keep my remarks brief so we can get to the other folks that are here today. The Ability Center is here today to let you know of our support for City Council funding the plan that the City Administration has put together to update the downtown. My name is Katie Hunt Thomas. I am an attorney and I am the Director of Advocacy for the Ability Center. And I've asked some other folks who are in our network and who have a relationship to Perrysburg, who enjoy coming here to come and talk a little bit about the importance of the project. I am just going to give just a brief overview of some of the history and also just a brief touch on the law that applies before I turn it over to other folks who are a little more interesting. So first of all, we're really excited about this project. I've never quite seen things done in this way before, and I think it's a really great precedent, and I also think it's a really great thing for the city of Perrysburg and for our region to make it more disability friendly. So a couple of years ago, the Ability Center had received a number of complaints from folks who are associated with us who had trouble getting into some of the businesses downtown. And these were folks that really just wanted to shop here, wanted to enjoy Perrysburg, wanted to just be able to get in the door. So we approached the administration to see if maybe we could collaborate on something that would assist businesses in becoming updated with their ADA obligations. We've been working on this with the city since I saw the first report this morning, and it was 2019, so for about 3 years. One of the concerns we've heard more recently is, is this a well thought out plan? And I did want to talk about that we've been working with the city since 2019. The city has put money into hiring experts to do an access audit of the downtown and take a look at that, produce a report, and then also put money into hiring an engineer that's an expert in the area to create a unified plan for the downtown, which again is really amazing. I think that's a wonderful thing that your city has done. And I think that it would really assist your business owners in updating their businesses without having to put a lot of cash down. I also think that having a unified plan for the downtown assists your business owners in ensuring that ADA access isn't piecemeal, that it doesn't look different, from business to business, but looks the way the city of Perrysburg wants it to look. I've gotten a question, is there a liability risk? Yes, so in 1990, the Americans with Disabilities Act was passed. It established minimum building code standards for buildings to provide access to folks with disabilities. And I think, it's just objective from the reports that the downtown does not meet those standards currently. Those accessible design standards do apply to existing businesses, and they do apply to businesses that are considered historic. So while the ADA has some special regs for historic buildings, they're not exempt from ADA requirements. The other question I wanted to address before moving on is, will this cost businesses a lot of money? Well, not the way it's designed. So, number one, the ADA creates this continuing obligation for businesses to update themselves over time, taking into account their budgets, to come into compliance with the ADA. But the ADA was passed in 1990, which is 32 years ago. So that continuing obligation has existed from that time, and it exists now. So anything that businesses need to do is in existence already. This plan would actually put money into assisting them in doing that. So that's something that, in my time at the Ability Center, I haven't seen. I've seen some money put aside for businesses to assist them, but I haven't seen this unified plan that would create a common look for the downtown that would also update for businesses. Once folks are in the door, again, the obligation is this continuing obligation to remove barriers over time, taking into account businesses' budgets. So it doesn't necessarily mean that as soon as someone's in the door, a lot of money needs to go into the business. I've heard that concern. Just also pointing out that obligation is already there. So I am really excited about this project. I am excited about the level of collaboration that we've had with the city of Perrysburg. I think this is a wonderful thing, and we're here to ask that you guys fund the project moving forward in the next year. So thank you. And we have some folks here who want to talk about access, and I'm gonna move on to let them talk.
I got to lower that a little. First of all, I'd like to thank the Chamber for giving me an opportunity to speak today. My name is Stuart James. I'm the Executive Director at the Ability Center. For those of you on that side of the podium, I'm actually here, but just look at the hand. I want to say too, I'll echo Katie's thoughts that I'm really excited about this project. I have just moved to Ohio about a year ago. My wife and I really enjoy shopping. We've driven through Main Street, Perrysburg a number of times, but we've never spent a dime in your community. And we shop and we eat out all the time. Largely because when we drive through, it's pretty obvious that it's not very accessible to someone like me. And we're just not going to get out and sort of wander around trying to find the one or two shops that are available to us, so we just skip it. So when we heard about this project, I thought, wow, what a great opportunity for business. Because you guys are willing to fund accessibility to the door. It means I can actually go in and start spending my money. It means business in Perrysburg can take my money. And the money of some of the colleagues that I have with me today. And I'd like to shop here, I'd like to eat here. I've heard through the grapevine that, there's some concern in Perrysburg that the Ability Center is here just to stir the pot a little bit, that once we get inside business, that we're going to create some problems for them. That's just not how we operate. We don't shoot people. We're friends. We want to help you. We invest in the communities we support. Last year alone, we put $250,000 into those communities. We put $100,000 into Wood County. We put $50,000 into Perrysburg to build that playground. We help small business as well. And that offer still stands. Once this works and we can get in, and the shops are having some trouble with some of their accessibility, whether it's a bathroom or just space, they can come to us for assistance. We're not going to cause trouble. We're going to help them. It may be financial, it may just be some advice on how they can make their facilities better. But we're here to help the community. We're not here to hurt business. We want business to make money. I want Perrysburg business to take my money and make it their money. And if they don't want my money, why are they in business? It doesn't make any sense. Because it's not just me, there's a lot of us actually. Not just here today, but there's really a lot. Right? And I also, it's not just me, it's my family. My wife won't shop here without me. My kids not coming, my mom's not going. So you guys are just losing money, businesses. So I think this project and the idea that the city of Perrysburg is willing to make these shops accessible at no cost to business is just a wonderful thing for the businesses in Perrysburg. And so I hope you guys pass that. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tanisha Ulrich, and I actually have done some shopping in Perrysburg over the years. I live in the country, but we come to Perrysburg because this is the closest place, and this is the place where we really like to come to the market. And I have a lot of friends that are in this area. So over the years, I've had many experiences dealing with the access barriers that are currently in downtown Perrysburg that we would like to see change. Some have been difficult and some have been downright dangerous. And I'm here today to ask City Council to pass legislation to help with some of this and make it possible for people of all ages and ability to be able to access the businesses in downtown Perrysburg, Ohio, because it's a great place and there's a lot of really good things going on here. I wrote down a few of the experiences that I'd had because I wanted to make sure I got them right and to access my memory over the years. And one of the first times that I had issues with barriers in Perrysburg was a work Christmas party that I got invited to that was at a business that is now called Lupita. It's called Lupita. It's downtown. It's a different business now, but it was a restaurant. They were having a party there. It was going to be held in the building where Lupita Cantina is now located. I called ahead to see if it was accessible because I wanted to just know for sure before I said I was going to go. So I was assured everything was going to be accessible for me to get in. And when I got there, they did in fact have a lift. But right before that lift was a couple of stairs. And no one there knew how to operate the lift. So some of the workers that were there had offered to carry me either to the lift or all the way up the stairs. And it was 25 stairs and they were steep, and I was afraid that I was going to be dropped. I was afraid that it was too much. So needless to say, I missed out on the Christmas party. And that was the first time that I had encountered problems with getting into a business in downtown Perrysburg. And that was shortly after I had moved into the house where we live now. And then another time is trying to get into a restaurant downtown called Stella's. And I have heard such good things about that place that I really wanted to check it out many different times. But there was no way for me to get in. So they always encouraged me to eat outside. But you can't always eat outside because of the weather. It's also kind of a small little area. So having groups there is not always easy. And many times what brings me to downtown in the summer is the market. So I run into people that I know, and there's groups of us, so they always want to go out someplace and sometimes I just can't get in. That's been a challenge over the years. So this fall, it happened that we came to the farmer's market, and I ran into a good friend of mine from high school, and we went to Swig. And on the way in and out, I was struggling with the elevation between the threshold and the sidewalk, and also there's a narrow doorway in between two doors, and it may not seem like a lot to somebody that walks without assistance, But to others like me, it's a real barrier and a challenge. And it makes it really hard to be able to enjoy experiences downtown that are there for everyone. So these are just a few examples of my experiences over the years. But what frustrates me the most is knowing I've missed out on multiple experiences that were denied me and others, not just me, but others, because of the access barriers that exist in downtown Perrysburg, Ohio. And it's a wonderful place, and I'd love to see more people be able to enjoy it. So that's why I came here today to share my story. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right. So thank you for having me today. My name is Adrienne. I'm born and raised in Perrysburg, so I've here for 40-some years. I'm the daughter of Roger Bell, who was also raised and a graduate from Perrysburg High School, along with I'm a granddaughter to Ruth Bell, who was a teacher for many, many years at Perrysburg School System. In my 40 years, I have many, many memories walking uptown with my mom to get Roxy's pizza, Casavan, or even hit the farmer's market. In 2017, she was diagnosed with Huntington's disease, which has deteriorated, has limited her mobility to the point where she is now a full-time wheelchair user. Since her diagnosis, she has had 4 grandchildren, whom she loves to spend time with. I wish my mom and my children could have similar memories that I do with her. As a family, we spend many evenings and weekends at the library. The kids always ask to head uptown for dinner or lunch afterwards. With the barrier to the entrance to many of the uptown storefronts, we have navigated away from uptown. Yes, I want my children and others to grow in a diverse area, and the only way that can happen is for it to be accessible. I know the city of Perrysburg and I are very proud of the inclusive playground at the Rotary Park. For those who come to experience inclusive play, like the opportunity for my mom to play with her children and grandchildren at the playground, we should be taking it a step further and provide them the ability to independently attend art classes, grab dinner, and enjoy the history of our beautiful community in uptown Perrysburg. There is an art store that offers art classes uptown. I think it's called Create Art Studios. On their website, they reference a quote, "Art washes away from the soul the dust of everyday life." Please consider the aggressive plan to remove the barrier to small businesses so my mother and children can simply enjoy all that downtown Perrysburg offers.
Catherine, is there anyone else?
If this is open forum. Yeah. My name is Steve Dane. I live at 315 East 6th Street. I'm a lifelong resident of Perrysburg. I do not have a disability, but I have family members who do. I mean, which of us doesn't? But I would very much like to see this council approve the most expansive and budget for and seek financing from the government for the broadest ADA plan that they can. I do that because I think I'm proud of my town. I've lived here all my life. My family and I have owned businesses in downtown Perrysburg since the 1940s. It's something that I think Perrysburg should be proud of doing. Perrysburg has been proactive in the past with curb cuts on every single city street and corner in the city. Did years ago. That was phenomenal. A lot of cities still don't have those. And I would, in support of the business owners, ask this council to approve the maximum amount of money that it can for the most aggressive plan, because that will save the downtown building owners and, excuse me, and businesses the cost of themselves coming into compliance, which they eventually will have to do anyway. So let's get the city to help them out. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, everyone. We appreciate you coming today. We appreciate your very heartfelt and sincere comments. I know that council has had this on its agenda and will continue to be so. For your information, we also anticipate, given some of the conversations that we have experienced and have had already, that a more broad approach to the project be considered, and probably cost more money, but I think it's a more holistic approach to even what's already been proposed. So we're going to try to put more money towards this effort to making downtown accessible and to bring it up to speed in a way that is the best way possible to preserve its heritage, make it accessible, support the downtown businesses. And so we look forward to doing that. We also realize that this has been going on for some time, and we are going to aggressively move forward, because this is something that we should be doing as soon as we are able to get an agreement as to what needs to be done. So thank you very much for coming. If I have not had a chance to meet you before, it's nice to meet you, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you in downtown Perrysburg. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome to stay, or you're welcome to go if you so choose. Letters, communication, and citizens' concerns. All right. Mayor's report. I want a special shout out to the Garden Club and Statinsky Financial for the efforts to make downtown Perrysburg festive. We really appreciate the community involvement and all those all those groups volunteered to make something happen, and they made it happen. So along with our team from the street division, looks great. So I want to thank everybody for that. City Administrator.
No report.
Finance Director.
I have no report.
President Council report.
Thank you, Mayor. I do not have a report.
Committee reports.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no report from Finance and Economic Development, but I do have the piece of legislation introduced, and I'll be on with that. I would like to introduce Ordinance 56-2022 for its third and final reading, and move that the rules be suspended to allow for its reading by number and title only.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Fuller.
Yes.
Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
Ms. Matroni.
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen.
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Resolution 56, 2022, making appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Perrysburg, Lee County, Ohio, for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023, declaring an emergency.
I move that Ordinance 56-2022 be passed as an emergency measure.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
We're going to have a discussion. That was kind of
All right. Sorry, nobody jumped up that discussion.
That was a very quick jump here. I don't think there's one thing in particular here I'm going to make mention. I know we had $20,000 set aside in the general capital fund for a dog park. I think one of the litmus tests that we've had from council and through the recreation committee is if this is going to move forward, it's going to possibly move forward over in Orleans, but that hasn't necessarily been earmarked or approved yet at this point. That might be something down the road. I'm going to make the suggestion that we just remove that $20,000 and just put that back in the general fund. I can make that as a motion to make that adjustment on there.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on the motion to remove $20,000 from the budget that was allocated for the dog park? Any discussion? If not, roll call.
Mr. Fuller.
Yes.
Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
Ms. Matroni.
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen.
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Any other discussion on the passage of the budget?
Well, the one thing that I would say is for the downtown project, I know we have $600,000 set aside utilizing the revolving loan fund. I do not want to utilize that fund at this time. I would make a motion to maintain that within the revolving loan fund at this time.
Second.
Any discussion?
Well, I guess, just a little clarification as to why.
For to remove from the.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be some other opportunities as we're working through this project. So again, as the mayor mentioned, that we're looking at more of a holistic approach to downtown, to take that back out for the engineering to look at a little more accessibility and movability within downtown as well. I know we're still maintaining the $400,000 in the capital fund for downtown projects is what I would look at it at this point. As we look at ADA, the maneuverability, parking, quite a bit of different conversation that we heard from the presentation from the engineer to look at the, going off memory here, so there's no compared statements as I'm trying to walk through. But if you look at our planners, that takes up quite a big portion of the area there. I think that's something we need to look at. We need to continue to see what we can do with the parking and the additional accessibility of our crosswalks, or parking, as well as everything else we can do, so we're not haphazardly running into this and then finding out a few years later we can make some adjustments, especially having the conversation about farmers market, making sure we can continue to utilize our downtown for different events and functions as well.
The administration would believe that this fund has not been used for an extended period of time. It is an investment in downtown. It is an investment in economic development for downtown. It is a purpose that's specifically allocated for this fund. We believe that the cost will probably go up because of the concerns that council has raised, and we want to make sure there's enough funds to pay for this project. And we think this is a good use of funds that had not been otherwise used. They can be refilled in the future, but we think that this is a really good use of those funds that have been not been effectively used for a long period of time. So that's the administration, and when the administration put that in the budget. That's all.
I'll say that the most likely the reason why these funds haven't been used over the last several years is with the way interest rates have been, and the banks have been lending money for the last several years, there hasn't been much of a need for that for future business development. And my concern is, and historically, if you look at government, once government uses something, they say they may replenish it, but that doesn't necessarily always happen. And I don't want to see us lose that fund, especially when we're coming into a rising interest rate environment as well as a recession. I think this is something that we'll see utilized here probably over the next couple of years. And I'm afraid of biting off more than we can chew at that point with that.
Then you're talking about using the remaining funds as overall improvements to the downtown area, and with and also have that ADA component in there with
And I think we need to
crosswalks,
additional funding.
sidewalks that need repair, wider areas to traverse in there, and also parking, right? But I think we have a citywide problem too with our sidewalks. It's not just in the business district. And I'm just gonna read a comment from a citizen that says, I use a wheelchair, and when I take my dog for a walk, I literally can't use most sidewalks throughout town. They're so bad. There's lots broken or badly warped, or where there's a lip to get over, it's nearly as big as the curb. And that's not in the business district. This is citywide, and I'm seeing it everywhere. And I know that we have $200,000 a year for our sidewalk repair, but I just don't think we're getting far enough with that, because we have citizens with. I know we're talking about bringing people to come in and shop in our businesses, but we have citizens living here with disabilities in their own neighborhoods that want to get around better. And I think we need to be focusing some money on repairing those sidewalks throughout the entire town.
More than happy to have more money allocated towards to the disability access, and if you want them, and I think that should be a priority, as well as they should not be exclusive. That's the thing. We have $600,000 to address to it. If council wants to take money away from it, it has to take money from. It's going to be lessening the opportunity to do the things you just said you wanted to do. So that's why we think this is a good use of the funds.
Kind of go off of what you just said. Whenever we're having this conversation, I do want to remind people that we are a unique city when we do offer that sidewalk repair program.
Right.
It is something that most cities do not do. That is the homeowner's obligation is to maintain and repair that sidewalk. That $200,000 are sidewalks we identify that are pretty much in dire need of repair, and we take that on as a good use of taxpayer money rather than what most cities will do is they'll fix it and then they'll do a special assessment that goes against your property taxes and you ultimately pay for your own sidewalk. So I just want to clarify that what we do is already above and beyond what most municipalities do. But I also kind of agree with John. My personal, I would like a very aggressive ADA plan as well downtown. My issue right now is I think it has to be something that the city and the downtown business owners buy into together. I don't think if we fix all the entryways that we have a lot of assurances that the businesses are going to repair the doorways that are causing some of the issues once you get inside, or are the reason you can't get into the holiday parties, unfortunately. So I view that revolving business fund as a way to potentially encourage that, a way that the businesses can use to make it so once you're inside, it's ADA accessible as well. And I think it needs to be, I would like a more holistic approach so that we're doing it right, so we're not just building a sidewalk to a door you can't get through. So I do think there is some work that needs to be done there, and that's why I'm okay with preserving it in that fund until we have a more holistic approach.
So we're supposed to inconvenience them until, with our sidewalks, until the store owners fix their fronts. There's things we can do now that we should be doing. A good example was, Mark just mentioned the planters, make them smaller. We should not wait for that. We should be aggressive now, and I agree with holistic and comprehensive, but there is stuff we can do now that we should not do because we're waiting on business owners, because that might never happen.
And I didn't mean to wait on business owners. I think that there's potentially money better spent in by supporting the businesses, getting them ADA compliant with that revolving loan fund. I'm not suggesting that if we don't have a plan that's all-inclusive this year, that we shouldn't support that. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just making sure that we're effectively getting the most bang out of our buck.
And that there is programs available for them too from the federal government, regardless of what we give them.
Yeah, there's only so much we can do, but we can also support our businesses and the changes we want to make downtown.
All right, roll call on the pending motion to remove the funds from the revolving loan funds from the budget item that were kind of allocated for downtown accessibility access.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Ms. Matroni?
No.
Mr. McCarthy?
No.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mr. Fuller?
Yes.
Okay, any other discussion on the budget? Roll call on the entire rest of the budget.
Ms. Matroni?
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mr. Fuller?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Okay, the next scheduled Finance and Economic Development Committee is scheduled for next Tuesday, December 13th, 5:30 p.m. End of my report.
All right, thank you. Safety Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We do not have a report, but we are privileged to have our police chief, Patrick Jones, with us tonight, and he has a few resolutions that we would like to discuss.
Good evening. So last month, the decision was made not to have the safety committee meeting, so Chairman Van Huzen was amenable to presenting 4 resolutions directly to council. It's going to be resolutions 98, 99, 100, and 101. And resolution 98, 99, and 100 all have to do with vehicles. As most of you are aware, Ford had canceled some vehicles that we had ordered earlier this year. And we are able to get them as 2023 models. However, the increase in price is about $7,500 per vehicle. Ford did cancel at least 400 orders in Ohio, thousands across the U.S. So hopefully we can get these 2023s. But Resolution 98 authorizes an additional $14,625.64 for 2 vehicles that are taken out of the federal shared proceeds law enforcement fund. Resolution 99-2022 authorizes an additional $30,136.88 for 4 vehicles, which will be taken out of the general fund. And then Resolution 100-2022 authorizes an additional $7,070.50, and this was for a utility vehicle for the fire division that will also be taken out of the general fund. And we are asking that the 3 readings be waived if they be passed as emergencies, so we can get these ordered and utilize funds that are left in this year's budget to do that.
Just real quick, I don't want to interrupt you, but
No.
I just want to make it clear, because you mentioned the Montrose thing, there is potentially an active lawsuit, that's correct?
There's been discussion amongst law directors around the state, amongst police chiefs among the state, because these are all purchased under state contract, and Ford unilaterally canceled orders, and it appears that it was based on the order that came in under, but then turned around and increased the price by $7,500 a piece for the 2023s.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that we plan on joining
Yeah,
the state's lawsuit for the
yeah, and like I said, it's most appropriate it would go under the Attorney General would do that since it was a state contract, but there's still a lot of talk going on. So.
All right, perfect.
And then the last resolution is 101-2022, and this is to purchase some additional portable radios. As you're aware, back in 2019, we switched over to the Lucas County 800 system, and so we bought enough radios with a couple extras at that time. And my plan is to slowly phase in new radios over time, so we're not purchasing 50+ radios, every 7 years or so. So we're going to do a few at a time. So this resolution would be to purchase 8 portable radios from Motorola at a cost of $37,332.56, and this is state of Ohio contract pricing on these radios. So these newer ones will go out to the officers on the road, and the older ones we could keep in a spare bank. So when we have larger events and we have a sheriff's officer, someone comes in to help, we have extra radios for them for those events. And so there is money available in the general fund for that. So those are the 4 resolutions that Mr. Van Duzen will be presenting to you. So if you have any questions. Okay, thank you.
Would there be any objection to introducing all 4 of these together? Okay. So I would like to introduce Resolution 98, 99, 100, 101, 2022, and move that the rules be suspended to allow for its reading by number and title only, and to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Fuller?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Ms. Matroni?
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Resolution 98, 2022, a resolution amending Resolution 6, 2022, and authorizing change order to the agreement and an amount not to exceed $90,544.34 for the purchase of 2 2023 Ford Police Interceptor utility hybrid vehicles and declaring an emergency. Resolution 99, 2022, a resolution amending Resolution 7, 2022, and authorizing change order of the agreement in an amount not to exceed $181,641.44 for the purchase of 4 2023 Ford Police Interceptor utility hybrid vehicles and declaring an emergency. Resolution 100, 2022, a resolution amending Resolution 9, 2022, and authorizing change order to the agreement in an amount not to exceed $45,029.85 for the purchase of 1 2023 Ford Police Utility Hybrid Vehicle and declaring an emergency. Resolution 101, 2022, a resolution authorizing the acceptance of a quote from Motorola Solutions, Inc. for the purchase of portable radios for the Perrysburg Police Division in an amount not to exceed $37,332.56 and declaring an emergency.
I move that resolutions 98, 99, 100, 101, 2022 be passed as an emergency measure.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. McCarthy?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mr. Fuller?
Yes.
Mr. Coolman?
Yes.
Ms. Matroni?
Yes.
Our next scheduled meeting is Tuesday, December the 27th at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Recreation Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. We did not have a meeting this month, but I didn't think it'd be appropriate to just announce that it looks like everything's moving forward with donating for Imagination to the Mission International. I think we got an email update on that today as well. And I think it'd also be appropriate to update that the playgrounds at Bicentennial and Municipal Park will most likely be removed here sometime this month, with the new ones being replaced in April, so there may be a short period of time where those playgrounds will not be in those parks. So just to put that out there for the public consumption, that there may be that time. With that being said, our next scheduled meeting is January, going on my calendar here, January 10th at 6:30 p.m.
Thank you.
End of my report.
Thank you. Personnel.
Uh,
Oh, wait, sorry.
No report, Your Honor. We'll meet tomorrow at 5:30.
My apologies. Personnel.
Yeah, we had a meeting on November 29th, 2022. I was present along with Kevin Fuller, Bridget Cabot, and Kelly Chalpon, also present with Brody Walters and Patrick Jones. Approved the meeting minutes from the prior month's meeting. Then there was a short discussion on the 2023 budget. I asked about NeoGov. Ms. Chalpon states that it was the greatest invention ever. She added that it was very helpful and just money well spent. Mr. Fuller asked if anything has changed from October's meeting for the budget. Ms. Chalpon confirmed that nothing has changed. I asked about civil service advertising. Ms. Chalpon explained that it is for civil service testing when they advertise in any publications. I also asked about the membership and travel. Ms. Chalpon is required to get continuing education credits and added that all those expenses would be approved beforehand. We then went into executive session to review two non-bargaining position descriptions. We were in executive session for roughly an hour and a half. After those discussions, we came out of the executive session and thought that both position descriptions were ready to move forward to City Council. Notice that we have the executive session scheduled at the end tonight to address those. And then there was no other business, so we adjourned. Next meeting is December 27th at 5 p.m. Nothing further, no legislation.
Thank you. Road Utilities.
I have no report this evening. Mr. Mayor, we did cancel November's meeting last month. We had our next scheduled meeting is December 28th, 6:30 p.m. Pending agenda items.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Service Committee.
We have not met yet, but, and on the agenda, you'll see resolution 102-2022 for purchase of a new vehicle. I'd like to table it at this time and bring it back at the next meeting. Our next meeting is tomorrow at 6 p.m. 6:30 p.m. 6:30. Okay.
Around 6:30 and I have
Thanks.
table back. All right, very good. No other business, Councilman, I'm going to take a...
I'll make a motion to go into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, investigation on charges and complaints against a public employee, official, licensed, or regulated individual.
Roll call.
Mr. Fuller?
Yes.
Mr. Coolman?
Yes.
Ms. Matroni?
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes. I just want to say, it's nice to see a lot of familiar faces out here. I know we got a lot of our Hard City workers here, and I'm really glad to see you all here tonight. So thank you all for coming. We're going to be going to this executive session. I don't know when, we're just going to adjourn.
Well, there's no other pending agenda items. So when we come back, there would be no action taken by council anticipated at this time. And so the meeting would then come into regular session and then probably go right to adjourn.
That's what I wanted to
So,
know.
all right. Welcome to stay.
Thank you all.
Welcome to wait around.
Thanks all for being here.